Russia has North Korea's full and unconditional support. That's what Kim Jong Un vowed on Wednesday after a 4-hour meeting with Vladimir Putin in Russia's Far East. The latest alignment has evoked warnings from the West. It says the summit could be used to strike a deal in which Pyongyang supplies Moscow with ammunition to continue its invasion of Ukraine. Well, to paint a clearer picture of what happened on Wednesday, I'm joined now by Siemon Wezeman, senior researcher at the Arms Transfer Programme from Stockholm. Thanks so much for joining us. Obviously, there's these concerns from the West, Siemon. How real are they that arms could be supplied by Pyongyang to Moscow?
It's not unrealistic. Right now, what we see is allegations from the West that there is an arms deal in the making. Same allegations were made a year ago, and we didn't see any evidence then. Now we see Kim Jong Un in Russia, so there seems to be more going on. Russia is in quite desperate need, apparently, of ammunition for its artillery. North Korea has a lot of that in stock. It fits. The Russians can use it. They could conceivably get that ammunition from North Korea. It would be completely illegal, as there is an embargo, the sanctions on North Korea, which prohibit the export from North Korea of weapons, but also the import by other states of weapons from North Korea.
Well, of course, you mentioned those sanctions. What could we anticipate from the West or United States in particular if this deal does go through?
If the deal would go through, there isn't really much you can do within this UN sanctions regime. Both countries will just ignore it. Okay, that's it. But there will, of course, be repercussions. One what I would expect is that there would be more support, also more material support for Ukraine from the countries that already give it, and also pressure on some countries, including countries like South Korea and Japan, to provide also lethal support. And that can then outbalance what Russia could get from North Korea. I also expect that there will be then more sanctions, additional sanctions on Russia from the US, from the EU, and like-minded states to basically punish a complete breach of international law.
And now on the flip side, North Korea, it says, we hear that they might be supplying these weapons, but it's in return for access to Russian technology. How likely is it that Vladimir Putin would accede to this request from North Korea? How far is he willing to take this alliance?
It's really totally unclear what. I mean, again, North Korea has been under sanctions for years. Its military apparatus is largely based on when conventional weapons, things that are 30, 40 years old technology. So anything they can get from Russia technology-wise, military technology-wise would be useful, but also oil, for example, or food from Russia. Anything would be useful for North Korea. But if Russia wants to go as far as also supplying weapons, I mean, let's say if you buy weapons from North Korea, they can just as well also supply their military technology. You have already broken the sanctions one way, so why not do it double?
And now, obviously, on the sidelines of all of this is I guess you can say the elephant in the room, China. What does Beijing think about a meeting like this?
I think they are, to some extent, slightly worried because North Korea is seen by China as that it sort of belongs to our influence sphere, and now the Russians are making hay there. The Chinese have also quite clearly said they're not terribly interested in countries that supply weapons to Russia. They don't say that Russia is doing wrong in Ukraine with so many words, but they don't really like the idea that Russia is being supplied with weapons to continue that war in Ukraine. For the Chinese, it would be best if that war goes away as quick as possible. And the Chinese, of course, have the additional problem that they like Russia, they like how Russia reacts to the US as a counterbalance to the US, but the Chinese also know that economically they are not dependent on Russia, they're dependent on other states, including the West. That's their market. And if you go too much following the Russian line, then that may have repercussions for your access to the markets where your economy is based on.
Thank you so much for all your views. That's Siemon Wezeman. He's a senior researcher at the Arms Transfer Programme in Stockholm, Sweden.